how much you can do for yourself and how you are.
Thank you, Trish.
Yeah, lovely. For me personally, again, I sort of made a list of the top 5 things that I either enjoy, because then obviously you've got an immediate connection with everybody else at these activities. If you're enjoying it anyway, then you've got an instant connection. For me, lucky enough, it was my first sessions I went with was with my brother. So I'd say either take a loved one, a friend, or a lot of these social pages now you can pick up in groups of people that do stuff. But personally, I made a list of 5 things that interested me first and foremost. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm going there, because all of a sudden you're interested in going anyway. So the people you're going to bump into, sometimes literally, have always got a neutral interest as well. So you start conversations and friendships, and you sort of move forward in that direction. But again, just the main message I think we're all trying to say is just don't use it as a barrier not to try things. If anything, grab it sort of by the horns and use it as a prove it to yourself. You can do these things. You can challenge yourself, and the pleasure you'll get out of it is, for me personally, it's been life changing. It's amazing. It's really amazing. But you got to have that spirit to actually give it a go. Just give it a go, and it will change your life. Honestly, it will change your life.
That's brilliant, thank you, Jay. And if you want to pass the mic to Kate, we'll all wait nervously now.
Kate, I know what you mean about holding the helm in a storm. It was brilliant up in Scotland. I loved it.
So I'm actually going to prove you wrong, because I don't just do tall ship sailing. I kind of actually got into sailing the wrong way around. I started on big boats, but actually the more sailing I do now is on smaller boats at the local Southampton Water Activity Centre, so it's dinghy sailing. So it's a lot calmer, it's not raging seas. So if you can sail a dinghy, you can pretty much sail anything. For me, that's how it feels. But if sailing isn't your bag, don't actually just give up at the first hurdle. It might be that you have to try 10 different things to find what is actually your thing, what you do enjoy. Even if it's just literally learning a route around your area to go for a 10-minute walk a day, well, that's more than you might have used to done, and then you can build it up from there.
That's brilliant, Kate. And again, from a personal perspective...
Ian, can I just jump in a bit?
Oh, yeah. Carry on.
Sorry.
You're back.
I've got my train of thought again now. Oh, what was I going to say?
Would you like one? I'll waffle briefly, and then you can come back.
Okay, I'll come back. But also, the nice thing, it keeps you fit as well, healthy, and that's really important, I think.
I've got it now.
You got it now?
It's in my head again.
Just whack me in the head or something.
Sorry.
That's about okay. Got it?
That's the other
Wrong way
way
round.
Okay. So going back to the sailing thing, starting small. A friend who's also visually impaired said one of her friends had dropped out from a paddle to the pub up the Hamble. Did I fancy going? I thought, I shouldn't last week. Yeah, let's give it a go then. It was brilliant fun. I've not been in a canoe, paddled up to the pub, and we had a lovely meal and a nice drink. And it's been something I would never have done before. And it was last minute, do you want to go? And I thought, yes, let's just go for it. So it's not all big tall ship sailing, it's paddling up the Hamble on a canoe. So the pub was drawing, yeah. It was the food thing that was getting me, I tell you. Anyone else?
And this is the thing, it's all about balance. So the other thing I would encourage you to do, is just adopt that kind of let's give it a go mindset. I mean, my whole approach to life has been, what can possibly go wrong? My fabulous wife is here in the front row, and her answer is always, would you like a list? I've prepared all the things that might go wrong. Now, I've made 30 years of marriage of ignoring her lists of things that might go wrong and just throwing myself out into the world. So I think every one of the panellists there would encourage you to, I think the key message we've got there is give it a go. You probably can do a lot more than you think. So I'm now going to pause because we've got the opportunity to take questions from the audience, and hopefully I've got a roving reporter in Chris who's prepared to grab a mic and run.
He's coming.
Come on, Chris. John through.
Tweeting Ian Morris onto the World Wide Web.
Good Lord. Is it
Which
ready?
microphone should I take?
Anyone you like, Chris.
It's Kate, and I'm in trouble. Sorry, Kate. Right, Rob, let's go number one question.
You spoke about local groups. Is there an age limit, or are the groups divided into different categories, like people who are teenagers, working, retired, and whereabouts are these groups? I know that obviously Southampton is one area, but are they spread across sort of Hampshire?
Yeah, so from an OpenSight perspective, we've got working age groups in Portsmouth, in Havant, in Eastleigh, in Basingstoke, and we've got one that we're just trying to get going up in the north in sort of Farnborough, kind of Aldershot way. And whilst we've got groups that we deem to be, we use the phrase working age, which we're not sure we like, and we've tried active, but active sounds all a bit likery, which is all right for Tommy, but no good for the rest of us. So, you know, we do have older people's groups as well, but for me, you know, there is, and we've got social groups all across Hampshire, and Jackie and her team do a fantastic job in Southampton. So there is something for everybody out there, and I would say talk to one of the OpenSight staff or to Jackie if you're in Southampton, or one of the Southampton team, and we'll be able to point you to a group of like-minded individuals.
Thanks, Ian. Another question coming in now?
Yeah, it's not a question as such, it's about activities, and like Kate, I've been on the tall ships and seen how blind and visually impaired people steer the ship better than normal people. But I actually go on holidays as a sighted guide with my wife, and this year we've been to London, where we went round Wimbledon and Hampton Court and places like that. Thank you. And we went to Austria with Traveleyes. I expect some of you've heard of it. And we went up in the mountains and looked round Innsbruck and places like that. We had a 78-year-old totally blind chap who decided to do a toboggan run. Unfortunately, he veered off the course and ended up with a broken metacarpal and a lot of scratches and things, but he enjoyed himself and he just shrugged it off, as we do. And then last week we were in Wales with Adventure in Learning, where we went to the Big Pit and we went to the Royal Mint and restored, well not restored, a boat that they've dug up out the mud and various other things. I got stung by a wasp, unfortunately. So next March I will be going with Milton Mountaineers, which is quite an active walking group, to the Isle of Wight, and they're walking the whole coastal path of the Isle of Wight. So there's lots of things out there. The other thing I would say is to the dog, that when we go and there's a guide dog involved, the guide dog gets the holiday. Because we're doing the guiding and the dog is allowed to be on a lead and be much more freer.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think it's important there to recognise that you know, activity doesn't always have to be sport. There's a whole range of things out there. And Millsy, cover your ears. It's not happening.
Yeah, another one in for you.
Hi, my name's Lynn, and first of all, can I just say how much I've enjoyed the discussion this morning? I just have to ask, how does blind golf work?
Don't ask me, I said it.
Jane, microphone incoming.
I had the same thought.
So basically, it's the same as visual golf, you know, as you see it on the telly and stuff. But them guys have caddies that carry their bags and help them out. We actually call them guides. We have guides, and it ranges from different people, voluntary, family members, just people who volunteer from the different areas, golf courses we go to. And basically they line us up, they give us, you're allowed to use like this sat-nav things our days with all the numbers on how far the Holden flag is away. So basically they'll give us a brief conversation about which shape the hole goes and which yards, and basically they point us in the right direction. Sometimes it's hands-on, the B1 guys who need more support, they literally place them and put them in the right directions, and hopefully if they give you the information that's correct, we stand up, they place the ball, the clubs and that behind the ball, and then you go through your motion of striking the ball, and hopefully if it all works out, it's a great shot, and you sort of get a pat on the back, and if it all goes bendy, you say like, you're really rubbish at guiding, like just and there's drink fines, we have a bit of fun with it, there's certain things you do which are really crazy, we have little fines in the bar after, but again, it's not just about the individual visually impaired guy, it's a team, it's a little team thing, because you have your person with you, and obviously we can't do it without these guys, and it's the same, there's junior to do it, there's women that do it, you know, it's a big spectrum of people that do it, but again, it just comes down to individuality, you know, for everyone being out there for 4 or 5 hours, it's not for everyone, but for certain people, it's good fun, you know. But it is very much a team event, and you do need your guide to be sort of hands-on, and it helps if they can see properly and things like that, you know.
Having had a go at this blind golf, and I'm thinking, I'm only going for the tea and coffee, I'm not going to enjoy it, I'll have an awful time. I really enjoyed it, and like you, I'm like, how on earth do I hit a ball on a stick, on a little pin thingy, with another club sim? Nothing makes a noise, I haven't got a clue where the heck it is. And all I kept thinking was, you're always told, keep your eye on the ball. I can't see it, so I'll just keep my head still, and I'll just do what the guys have told me, and I hit it on fairway. And when someone helped me to do the putting, because I was missing it all the time by hitting too hard, can't imagine why I'm so overexcited about things. But when they put a little ball behind my club so I can realise how far back to bring the club to then hit the ball in front to get in the hole, I kept putting it in the hole. It was like really exciting, hearing that little tinkling noise. So yeah, the things you think, how on earth do you do that? Just give it a go, because I just couldn't work it out myself. Like I said, I was only going for tea and coffee.
For someone that has a round of golf as a spoiled walk, can I have as much help from you guys as possible next time, please?
There's only so much help they can give, Chris.
That's harsh. Next question.
How does the organisations in general help people with dual disabilities to take a fuller part in physical activities? You know, so if it was, say, sight loss and physical, or if it's sight loss and maybe medical, like someone who's diabetic, for example. You know, I'm left thinking that sometimes the other things that restrict you are not really taken into consideration, you know?
I think that's a really great question, and thank you for asking. I think when it comes to multidisability, there is always, as you say, there's a number of challenges. So, you know, what we would try and do as an organisation is, one of the things we're very kind of aware of is we know a fair bit about sight loss, but when we get into that multidisability framework, we try and work across barriers with other organisations as well. So from our perspective, it's about having the conversation with the person. You know, I'm always a great supporter of self-advocacy, which is kind of tell us what we can do to help you. And from that perspective, it's then about working, you know, with the individual and potentially some more expert support to put in place the adjustments that somebody needs to take part and to be part of that activity. And it's also recognising, I think, as we touched on, there is a massively wide range of activities. Not every activity will be either suitable or desirable for every individual, but I think, you know, everyone on the panel would be confident that there's definitely a something for everybody.
Thanks, Ian. Next question coming.
Where do you find out about all of these activities?
So just the mic didn't pick that up especially well. So the question was, where do you find out about all these activities? So obviously there's a wealth of information online, Southampton site and OpenSight. We try and keep all of the activities up to date there. Another good resource is British Blind Sport. If you want to be more sporty and active, they look after a lot of sports. And then, it is the old the friend of Google. If you type in blind cricket, most handsome player, you'll probably find me. I can't guarantee that. Yeah, it is an element of, it is one of the brilliance of the internet that if you type it in, stick world blind in any sport, you'll probably find an adjusted version of it. And then for all those sort of social activities, again, sign up for newsletters and we'll try and keep everybody informed.
Hello, I'd like to make a contribution to your answers to question 4 about people who are hesitant to start a new physical activity. I'd like to tell you about my friend Alison, who's completely lost her sight, and she's quite elderly and she lost her mobility really with it. She's always been a very keen gardener and she's lucky to have a large garden, and so she put a handrail in around this garden. And I suppose one thing I want to say today is that she's opening it to anybody with any kind of vision impairment who might feel they need the confidence of a handrail to visit a country garden. So we're really developing the garden at the moment, and it's open most of the time, and we have volunteers who are there to help people. You would need a car to get to it as it's north of Romsey, but it is, she hopes, a confidence building exercise both for herself and others, so that they can really enjoy the country but know that they feel safe and secure with the handrail. It's about 100 metres, you can go round and round if you want to, or just do a little bit of it, and that's open to everyone. There is a leaflet in the bags that you've been given about it, and I think it's a great way to start, perhaps, if you've been really hesitant to regain your mobility, and it's working for her, and she would love it to work for other people.
That's brilliant, thanks ever so much. I know a couple of our OpenSight team came to that recently and came back, absolutely delighted. It's a great place. So thank you for that contribution.
We've probably got time for just 2 more questions. So I'm over here, Ian, with one more.
Hi, I don't come from this area, I come from Surrey. I've got some sight, which I help out on Weybridge in Bloom, which I do a bit of gardening, and they tell me which ones are weed. I can basically see, but I always check which ones are weed, and so I do it from that, but I usually end up trimming the edges, round with me snippers around the sides. I find that easy. And going back to the golf, I went to a golf, what is it now? Driving thing? Yeah. I went to a driving thing of having to go golf, and I'm really rubbish at hitting the ball up in the air. But out of all my shots I had, I managed to get 2 up in the air. But what I'm saying, do they do a ball that illuminates, so I can see where it goes?
Regarding that, unfortunately not at the moment, basically because the manufacturers pile so much money back into the golf, and on a world scale, obviously they want us to lose a few balls and buy new ones. So. But I suppose you could adapt something yourself, maybe a tennis ball or whatever, and put a bell in it and sort of start from there, whatever. But yeah, that's all I can say on that, basically. Yeah, sorry about that.
And then the last question from Rob again.
Yeah, sorry to hog it, but I was just going to say that we've had quite a lot of success at a place called The Point in Eastleigh, where they do very low impact activities such as yoga, Pilates and dance. So it doesn't have to be all lycra type activities. And also, it's quite interesting, some disabled people did come along, so they were visually impaired and also had other disabilities, and they really joined in. And the staff there are trained in helping people who have got disabilities to overcome them and to take part, to participate. So it's not all about sport. You can take very low impact things like yoga, and even doing something called chair yoga, which I've never seen before. where you just sit in a chair and do the yoga activities. So it can start at a very low impact level, and people really do seem to enjoy it. Thank you.
That's brilliant, thank you, Rob, and thanks to everybody for your questions and your input. I've enjoyed it massively, so if you haven't, well, you know, I've had fun. So, yeah, if you would just like to put your hands together for our panel, I think we've done great. And obviously there'll be folk about for the rest of the afternoon, so if you want to come and talk cricket with me and you've got 3 or 4 hours to spare, please do that, or approach any of our other panellists, as I'm sure they'd love to chat to you soon.
Just before everybody goes, I'm going to get it right this time because Debbie told me. But 1 o'clock, we've got Jackie Powers from Southampton site talking about a very exciting project that involves ourselves, but also the Eye Hospital of Southampton. So please come back at 1 or tell your friends. And it is 1 o'clock, nothing different. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.